The Rock.
which I liked a lot.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You were like, these contacts work for me, and do this accent more.
I thought I liked the movie a lot. I did.
Have you seen Man on Wire?
No.
Good God, yes. See that? Which the Blu-ray just got announced finally because I have the DVD. I'm gonna bring it over so you can watch the documentary. So you can watch
Is
this.
it on Criterion?
Watch
Is it
this.
Criterion?
Watch this Zemeckis movie out of your mouth.
I enjoyed it. I did enjoy it. The accent was silly as hell, though. That I will agree about. Question for you:
Yes.
if you could be a witness to any of the Godzilla battles that we have witnessed so far in this series, from a safe distance,
Okay.
not having to worry about getting trampled or burnt up or caught in a web, what is the battle you would like to see live?
Well, it'd definitely be one of the Ghidorah ones. It'd probably be the first one with Mothra, Rodan, and Godzilla all teaming up against Ghidorah. It feels like it'd be crowded trying to watch Destroy All Monsters and watching everybody. Also, it's just like seems like that fight's not going to last too long. Like if I was like buying tickets and I'm thinking like, yeah, it's gonna be a whole all day event. It feels like the Destroy All Monsters one just kind of it like starts and ends with the main event.
Yeah.
Where the Ghidorah 300 Monster one, that one kind of has a build up to what it's doing. It kind of has some stages to it. So if it plus, you're getting like Mothra's in there. Probably has like a pre-show thing where he's like all talking to, to Godzilla and Rodan. But no, I think because it's a little more prolonged as far as them trying to figure out how do we defeat this thing. That's probably a more interesting fight to watch from a distance.
I think mine would be Destroy All Monsters. I like just the breadth of creature that would be available, and also I want to see Ghidorah torn up and dead.
And plus, you'd wear your Anguirus.
My Anguirus,
your costume.
I do love Anguirus.
Your banner.
And he was doing his best. I will say that. What you can't say about him in that battle was that he was not doing his best. So, that was a fun one.
I am Aaron Neuwirth. I am the editor-in-chief at We Live Entertainment. I am the co-host of Out Now with Aaron and Abe, and I am a big Godzilla fan.
My name is Terence Johnson. I write at lenoirtour.net, and I have seen some Godzilla movies.
And together, this is Two Black Guys Talk Godzilla. Here we are. Episode
13.
13, exactly. Lucky number 13, and boy are we lucky to talk about the movie we're talking about today, All Monsters Attack, in America known as Godzilla's Revenge. You're going to look at me being like, why would it be ever called that? And I'm going to look at you and be like, I have no idea.
They knew they needed a good title.
Apparently.
They knew they needed a good title.
Godzilla's Revenge was the American title of this movie.
They knew they needed a good title.
Terrence, we just watched this movie.
We did.
We watched all 70 minutes of it.
It's feature length.
Whose revenge is Godzilla getting in this film?
I think they were going metaphorical.
Oh, yeah?
Godzilla is the monster inside of all of us that needs to be awakened when we face down our bullies.
I'd argue Godzilla's like 6th on the call sheet for this film. And that's being generous. I don't think Godzilla's getting a lot of revenge here.
As I'm counting through who is in this movie.
Maybe Ishirô Honda's the Godzilla and he's getting revenge. Maybe it's a metaphor for him.
Before we go too far into this review to talk about this, spoiler alert, this movie is bad. How did this one come about?
That's a good question.
We need to start with the break. I feel like we need to start with the breakdown.
So Destroy All Monsters was made intended as the final Godzilla film. That was the plan at the time, which explains why it was this kind of monster brawl epic that had all these different creatures from all. It was like, as I described it, the Avengers of kaiju movies for Toho, and that was intended to be. And it did well, but it wasn't like this blowout massive hit in the way like King Kong versus Godzilla was. It did fine. It's still on the decline as far as the popularity of these movies go, and that's why they're angled more towards children or what have you. So the idea after that was, well, okay, we might not make more movies, but we're still going to develop this animated cartoon series. That was another plan for Toho. That didn't go through, and that's not the same as the American cartoon, which featured Godzilla and of course the character Godzuki, a thing that we will probably talk about at some point in some form, just because we need to. Whatever happened with that didn't happen whatever they intended, and Ishirô Honda did end up coming back wanting to make a film that was very much deliberately aimed at children, which it very much is. You can say what you will about the quality of the film, but you can't deny that the film is very much geared towards a young audience. That is very much
Nickelodeon Super Bowl coverage of Godzilla movies.
It's watching like a Rugrats episode where like Tommy's suddenly invested in Godzilla.
Yes,
like that's what it is. And so, like, again, whatever you think of the movie, it's not like it was like trying to be something and it's like, oh, it's only for kids. It's not like Batman and Robin, where like it's aiming to like still appease everyone, but ends up being this like weird camp thing.
Is that the one with them with their men?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
It very, but it, you know, you're enjoying it for certain reasons. This one's very much intended to be geared towards like 6 and under. Like, so. In saying all that, Honda made this movie that way. It had very low budget, which is why there's a lot of stock footage here. It's why it's reusing a lot of footage from like at least 5 other Godzilla movies, very much on purpose, because they just didn't have the means to do much more than that. It doesn't even have its same special effects artist. I can't never remember the name. It's Aiju Tsuruya, who is basically done with this, and he's only credited on this movie out of like honor for his work over the course of the series. But it's largely Honda doing most of the special effects stuff that they do in this movie, along with like one of the other like second unit guys. And I mean, in saying all this, while if your suspicions were people probably don't like this movie very much, you're right. It's largely regarded as one of the worst Godzilla films, if not the worst of all time. It has like a 3.9 on IMDb. It's got no good ratings, reviews.
I'm looking at the list of things that we have watched. Yeah, that sounds about right.
So while it's regarded pretty low among all Godzilla fans or what have you, there's some argument. We can talk about the arguments for it, but it is Ishirô Honda, outside of the first film, it's his favorite of them that he's made. I think because he's very happy with what he feels he accomplished as far as making a film that was deliberately for children and trying to approach it through this kind of metaphorical sense. Now, I have my issues with it as well, but I do see the point he's trying to make.
So, from his standpoint, I do totally get that. It is coherent a vision.
Sure.
In terms of, I want to make a movie for children. I have $2 and a prayer. How can I make a Godzilla movie for kids with $2 and a prayer and some stock footage? And he figured it out, and it certainly feels like it is deliberately geared towards children. The main character is a child. He's dealing with bullies. He's working with Minilla, and by the end of this movie, he is, stands up to them and wins the fight.
Now, before you continue, let's play some trailer for All Monsters Attack.
Oh my gosh.
Imagine a place feared by men the world over. A land of danger and terror. All within the mind of a child. Travel to the treacherous Monster Island. See cataclysmic confrontations as Godzilla tackles a host of motley mutants. Experience true adventure in Godzilla's Revenge.
Okay.
All right, so let me read you a brief plot description of this movie.
Oh my goodness.
Where'd we go? Here we go. This is easy. It's nice and brief. But I do like saying this word a lot. A latchkey child. I know there's implications for that, but it's a very funny word to me. A latchkey child. A latchkey child living in the industrial city of Kawasaki confronts his loneliness through his escapist dreams of Monster Island and friendship with Minilla.
Yeah, that sounds like the title.
It definitely implies that all monsters will be attacking.
All monsters are in this. So back to my description of the vibes of this. That is what happened. This was feature length.
Yes.
It was feature length. Which for people who are not familiar with that phrasing, I don't know if I've said it on this podcast.
I don't think you have, actually.
It's something I came up with a coworker, Josh Atala, who I used to work with, who would describe a movie as not bad, not good. It's feature length. which normally means it was bad, right? It had a beginning, a middle, and an end. And I think this movie, it certainly is aimed for kids. I could see a child getting a lot of view out of it, but for us adults who have now watched 16, 17 movies in this series, monster movies from Toho specifically,
like us, like in
yes,
this, like this
on
thing.
This podcast.
Well,
this might be number 20. We're way up here. We've gotten 13 episodes, but we did.
Well, you're counting Gargantuous.
Yeah, we got Gargantuous, so that'd be 14.
This is the 10th movie. Then we add Godzilla, and then
16.
3 more, and then 2 more.
16.
So yeah, 16. Yeah,
16 movies, and it's like this one is nonsense. It is. It just is.
Well, okay, so and I'm not going to disagree with you because I don't necessarily like this movie, but I do see what it's doing. So when you say nonsense, describe that. What does that mean to you?
I think so. Part of the reason why I think it's nonsense is the over reliance on the stock footage.
Okay,
like before you even made a comment while we were watching this movie about them using stock footage, I already had a note here. It was like, oh, so we're just reusing footage. And it feels... But we're reusing footage from a perspective that footage was not shot. Minilla was not present for all of those things. So it's like we've got this child who sort of daydreams his way onto Monster Island. And as he's going around witnessing all these things with Godzilla, he's with Minilla too. Mm-hmm. And they're talking to each other.
Minilla talks now.
And
Minilla is also child size and
yes,
talks.
Also shrinks and grows at different points.
Yeah, because he still interacts with Godzilla, who when he's next
gigantic.
to Godzilla, he would not be the size of a child.
And Gabara was packing him up. Ooh, we'll get to that. But it just.
I like you knowing these names.
Well, I wrote them down.
I'm thinking about months ago. You wouldn't know any of these names. You're Gabara, Rodan.
I still don't know. We got a Gagan and a Hedora coming up. I don't know who those are either.
You'll find out, yeah. and you will be happy.
I don't know what a Megalon is either. But these. It's nonsense to me in that it's very kitchen soup filmmaking, and I get it. That's why I wanted you to lay out what the production of this was in the beginning, mm-hmm. because it's well, I can understand we have this stock footage here, and it's not the first time we've seen stock footage reused. We have a very hilarious to me version of it in Godzilla King of the Monsters, mm-hmm. where it's he shouldn't have even been able to see this footage, but. This movie is so over-reliant on it in a way that I don't necessarily know doesn't propel the story it's trying to tell forward, right? The stuff that is specifically with Minilla that is reused footage is, right? Minilla is the central character in the story, but it's all the superfluous stuff. It's I don't need to see him battling Ibira again, right? It's the giant condor, for some reason the snake is there. He doesn't do anything, but he's there. And Gorosaurus
yes.
is here for a brief moment, but not there's nothing contributing to that. And so from that, if this I feel there is another story that's weaving around this in the real world. Mm-hmm. There is a $50 million yen heist.
Is there? I didn't know that they had that.
Well, just in case you didn't know, there is a $50 million yen heist.
They did mention it 17 times
within the first 10 minutes, and that's happening in the background. You've got a kid who's being bullied in his life, but he finds sort of solace with this toy maker, and
yeah, this is the Hugo of Godzilla films.
Yeah. I was this is the sports center of Godzilla. This is what I wrote down here. And then it turned into Home Alone. It's nonsense because it's honestly because it is feature length. If this was 45 minutes,
yeah.
Think of it just a drama or a
CW episode.
Yeah, of television. I could be I'd see how that'd be a great sort of kid special version of this. But you've got all of these elements that are coherent to the vision of we want to make something for kids, but not quite engaging in like a meaningful way. In particular, it's supposed to be about this kid goes through all of this and then he gets the courage to stand up to his bullies, which he does.
The simple arc of this movie.
However, would that have made more sense if Minilla defeated Gabara on his own?
We'll get yes, it would. And
so yeah,
that's
that's what I mean by nonsense. I'm just like, the elements of the vision are there, but like how they're utilized felt nonsensical to me.
Okay, so I gotta talk for a second. Don't confuse this for me making an argument for the positivity of this movie.
Here we go. Aaron defends all monsters attack.
Like, I'm literally saying I'm not defending the movie.
Yes.
But, so in terms of what you're speaking to as far as the stock footage, for example, I agree with you that there's an over-reliance on it. I would say, as far as it's not even necessarily an over-reliance, it's more of, I can agree that the choices they make of which stock footage to put forth doesn't move the plot forward. That said, because it's a cheap movie that has no budget, I get why they're doing it, regardless of whether or not Minilla was involved in certain scenarios. Because if they had the money, they just shoot new footage, right? But they can't do that, so they're placing something in. So it ends up becoming like a Godzilla clip show, which. Yes. I'm not necessarily against, especially when you're 10 movies in. I see why you would approach something that way, especially if you're leaning towards a certain audience, just to give them, something exciting to look at. It's here's an edited down version of some of the highlight fights that Godzilla's had that are still fairly kid-friendly. So, he fights the giant lobster. He fights the giant condor. He fights the mantises, the Karamashirayashi. That's me stuttering through that name because I can't remember the name of the mantises in this thing. I get what that choice is, but yes, the fact that it's for a movie that's only 70 minutes, it does feel like it's, if anything, just becoming longer because it's relying on some of these choices that don't add much beyond just the novelty of being able to see Godzilla fight things. So it's no, you're not wrong. I don't disagree with you at all. It's trying to give a lot of. If I was going to say that I like this movie, it'd be I'd have to give a. I
like this movie.
I'd have to give a lot of benefit of the doubt to Ishirô Honda working with just only what he has and really believing in this idea of, I want to tell a story about a child overcoming certain anxieties and whatnot. The problem is the writing doesn't support this thesis. It doesn't seem to, beyond the very, very, very basics of what eventually happens, the workarounds he's choosing to utilize to eventually find this character feeling emboldened enough to get over what's happening to him in his real life.
It's foolish.
It's foolish. It doesn't it doesn't pay off in the right sort of ways. You ask about the Gabara versus Minilla and Godzilla, and how that could have been handled in a way where it would make sense when the kid finally musters up the courage to do his own fighting. I could just You're not wrong. The kid finds enough courage to kind of start fighting back against the bank robbers to some degree, but it doesn't.
The bank robbers are the $50 million.
But
$50 million, yeah,
yes. It doesn't match up to me it feels more perfunctory as opposed to obviously these things connect. Look at this app. We set this all up. It doesn't match.
Well, yeah, because like I said, going up against the bullies is just much more meaningful to what I think the story that's being told is, right?
Yes.
He's running through, the clip show, as you'd say, of, Godzilla's greatest hits and Manilla's lowest. And
here's the other problem, too. Minilla sucks. It's not fun watching Minilla. Manilla's an annoying little creature.
Let's put a pin in Minilla.
It's super ugly. I hate watching Minilla.
Like the dinosaur, one of the dinosaurs from Dinosaurs.
But at least you mentioned the dinosaurs were watching it. Those are Jim Henson creations that have animatronics and look really, really good.
Yeah.
At least they feel like they exist in a world that makes sense to me.
Well,
this is like
I'm with you
yes.
in that I asked you during this movie how many movies Minilla is in, and you said 4 because I'm over it.
Well, you're really lucky because you're not going to have to deal with Minilla for another 12-ish movies.
I'm over Minilla just like you are, because it's an annoying character. But even then, the storyline is like 2 kids trying to overcome their fears, right? And so if this and I don't mind the bank robbers being around, but it's like the significance of them to the narrative story. And this is why I said, like, if you just chop this down to like a tight 45-50 minute thing, there is something in this story, but like you add all these other elements and it feels nonsensical.
It's funny because you mentioned Home Alone, and I'm not the biggest fan of Home Alone, and it's largely because the end of Home Alone. I don't really care for when he fights back against the wet bandits, that stuff, which is like the issue with this movie, where it has these guys in here in the midst of this story about this kid that's trapped by himself and dealing with his own thing, and it's like I don't dislike the idea of a story of a little boy trying to match himself up to these bullies by way of imagining a fantasy world where he goes to Monster Island to befriend Minilla. That's a neat idea for a children's movie. In the same way that I think Home Alone is an interesting idea for a kid dealing with, I'm alone by myself in my house. How do I just like live with like no means of doing anything else? I get that a movie like that needs to have some kind of like dramatic confrontation. I just don't really enjoy watching impossible things happen to Joe Pesci and Daniel Stern in that movie. This there's a visceralness to it that's like fun. Like I don't hate Home Alone. It's just not a movie I prefer.
Yeah.
This movie similarly has this bank robbery plot in there that it's just not. It's not handled very well at all. It doesn't find enough reason for, as you were asking, like why is there so like why do they care about this kid? What's going like what's the deal with him? Like. And obviously it's a kid's movie, so they can't just be like, let's just kill the kid and get out of here.
Well, my thing is that they go out of their way to find this child. And we this is not the first sort of criminals that we have seen in these movies.
Nope.
I think Raids Again, where they like the 3 of them escape from jail and they end up blowing up the island, which attracts Godzilla and Garrison. That's how they start fighting. But, so it's not to say that you can't have the criminal element, and we'll get to a great criminal plot here coming up in a few episodes. But here was just like, I don't understand why they would be, like, okay, they were in this abandoned house, the kid may or may not have saw them, so rather than leaving this abandoned house, they're going to go back into the city, kidnap the kid, to hurt him and or kill him, hotwire a car, and then escape.
It's a lot of layering on things on top of a movie that's already pretty solid as far as what it is for the kid plot.
And the movie turns into Home Alone.
Yeah, yes.
Like that's the thing. At least with Home Alone, there's the impetus of like why they are there.
Yes, it's like there's enough is set up for it to make a level of sense as to why these people need to be involved. Sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this was this was a lot. This is a great example of how the runtime on a movie, it does not equal the quality of it. RRR could have lasted another hour, and I would have been thrilled. And this movie would have lasted 1 more minute, and I would have ready to just lay on the ground. So yeah, that it just it's nonsensical.
So,
but it is. But I do see. We are analyzing these critically. Like I do see what Ishirô. I see why the grandfather of Godzilla would be like, I want to make one of these for kids, and he made this, and he'd be like, okay, great, I made my Godzilla movie for kids.
Yeah,
I could see it.
And he hasn't been a fan of the series as a whole. Like he's very, but like he looks, you get nostalgic, obviously, and you're being like, yeah, I'm a part of this. I'm part of history. But obviously, he made a movie that was very different than how the series kind of chose to go. Even having made 5 of the first 6 of the movies, his instincts were necessarily, I definitely want to make this about wacky aliens coming in and kidnapping Godzilla, and and finding other
Invasion of Astronauts. That's one of my favorites of the series.
Finding other things, like I was, you're a director, you're making movies, and he's making a ton of monster. He's making Gargantulas, he's making all these other movies. It's not like he's against the idea of I'm going to do this, but certainly I'd imagine someone like him who made a movie that's like the ultimate Japanese treatise on post-war anxiety and turn it into this iconic monster thing, and now it's become this kind of kid-themed wrestling series of flicks.
Yeah,
I imagine there's some thoughts on like how that goes, and so he makes this movie, which is very deliberately there's no mistaking what this is trying to be, and he stops. He doesn't make another one until the final one in this franchise, in this era. The Terror of Mechagodzilla, which we'll get to.
Ooh, that'd be exciting.
And you can tell that he's back trying to do something that is more substantial. You'll see.
Okay, yeah. Because like, there are things in these movies that I sort of immediately respond to in terms of, very favorably. I need a coherent human plot. It doesn't have... Coherent does not mean it can't be wacky, but it must be coherent.
Yes,
I do enjoy the newsroom stuff, even though we've gotten less and less and less of it as these things have gone along, which I do miss. I want interesting kaiju battles, and I want the music to be good.
I am so excited for next episode. I'll just put that right there right now.
Yeah, those are the things that I gear towards, and obviously this movie was not made for me. Therefore, I did not respond positively to a lot of it. And to bring up the music, like a mess. I don't know. There was an episode recently. I can't remember. We watched so many of these movies and have done 700 in these episodes, and it might be Son of Godzilla, where I was like, was it Son of Godzilla?
It was Son of Godzilla, yeah.
Which was dreadful. If only there was something in common between both of these movies. To explain that, but the music I think is the music and the sound design I think is so key. So like, I think the sound design of Gabara is really cool.
Yeah.
But just the music here, particularly the opening song, it's just like, oh.
Yeah,
okay.
It's a lot to handle, and I'm sure it tracks with some kind of trend or something that was going on at the time, but in terms of watching it now, it's like,
and I think
this is not doing the job.
Spoiled. Not that Disney, we're a little past golden age time, I think, for Disney by the time this one comes out.
Okay.
Right, so it's like we have grown up with kids, us two in particular, have grown up with kids' properties where like the music is like so integral to not just the success of the movie, but how we feel about it. Whether that is, Prince and Princess movies from Disney, whether I'm thinking about like Pixar, like thinking about Up and The Incredibles and all of these movies. So it's not to say that kids' properties don't deserve and or have interesting music solely because they're for kids. And this score is like, okay, it's like, all right, everybody was phoning it in. Like I said, they had $2 of prayer and some stock footage. But yeah, this one was tough.
We're getting to the funky 70s after this, so be prepared for some changes.
There's one. I mean, but there is one coming up
that has music that you enjoy.
Which has that I thoroughly enjoyed, which I really, really dug.
I'll note that the music in here is handled by Kunio Miyauchi, as opposed to Ifukube, so it's not the same composer.
I don't even, I don't mind let's get the vibes of the time in the score.
Yeah,
but
I hear you.
The problem is just you have come from a world of just iconic themes in music.
Even outside of what America's doing or what have you, I mean, the Godzilla films.
I mean, that's what I'm saying.
Okay, well, yeah,
like Godzilla,
the Ifukube themes they're very memorable and they're trying something, even if they are marches and military based or what have you. Not all of them, but some of them are. It's still angled in a way that works. It fits for what I'm watching. It's frankly pleasing to hear. Where there's a cat scratching in my ears in this movie, and it's okay, I need this to calm down right the hell now because I can't handle this for too much longer. And then also having all the stock footage doing different edits and music choices on that to it's disconcerting.
This is a Masala film probably isn't the right way to describe it because that's combining multiple elements of things, but it's clip show, greatest hits album, Sports Center.
I mean, I'm not going to say greatest hits because I haven't shown the greatest hits. It's showing Ibira and Son of Godzilla again.
Yeah,
it's not showing me Ghidorah and
the Giant Condor. Wasn't that from Destroy All Monsters?
Giant Condor. No, Giant Condor is in Ibira.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, so we. Ooh.
I know. It's using a lot of Jun Fukuda movies.
That's what I'm saying. If that little boy, if you wanted a real inspiration, we need to go back to Mothra vs. Godzilla. Mm-hmm. When Mothra was on death's door fighting before the twins were born and ended up, winning the battle. That is inspirational.
Do you think there's a better version of this movie if they didn't have to use stock footage and they could actually show Minilla and the boy encountering certain creatures on Monster Island? I think obviously, right?
Yeah, I think Minilla, him going around with Minilla facing off against
smaller bugs or whatever,
different creatures, or they're just going through and they're finding interesting items, and Gabara keeps popping up and kicking over the sand castle or stealing something. And then, they ultimately ultimately fights him and wins. And then he uses that as inspiration in the real world to go and fight against the bullies.
They hold him up, in a Godzilla, they hold him off just enough for Godzilla to finally get involved, and that happens. Maybe a Jurassic Park ending, where we hold off the raptors, and T-Rex comes in just in time to save the day. Yeah.
Shout out to the original T-Rex. Something like that I think would work, because then it's it just that to me is just a more meaningful approach in the story of kid is going into his dreams, meeting up with these monsters to try and learn how to stand up to his bullies, and then for some reason we're dealing with a bank heist too.
See, I asked this because if you did make an edit of this movie that was 45 minutes, you could take out all the clips, you could take out the bank robbers, and you'd be left with what? You'd be left with Gabara, Minilla, the boy, Godzilla, Monster Island, the Latchkey Kid stuff, and the bullies. That's it. And there'd be a movie that probably is still coherent and gets to the point of what it's trying to ultimately do.
Much stronger.
So, listeners, we need your editing skills to send this 45-minute cut of All Monsters Attack that deletes all those elements.
And what's so funny is, obviously, we watched Varan, right? And Varan had a very storied production history, but was meant for television.
Yes.
And it's this could have been meant for television.
Yeah.
Like I said, there is a tight...
This feels like a Sunday night special. You're don't forget the all-new All Monsters Attack coming on for all you. Bring the kids to watch this thing.
You can't take your kids to go see the Godzilla movie because you feel it's too destructive or you feel it's too grown for them, even though it's not. But here's a special for them. Mm-hmm. Or a 30 to 45 minute short in front of the next Godzilla thing. I think could really work. But it's chaos, man.
You wanted to put a pin in the Minilla thing. You want to talk about Minilla now?
Well, we've already talked about how I'm over it. I'm done with Minilla.
I look forward to Godzilla's next child in the upcoming era, and ideally we'll see how you respond to that version. But I'd like to think right now more positively.
The Minilla of it all. Manilla's just I like silly things.
Yes, go on.
I do like silly things. Manilla's too silly. And too cowardly.
Like if we got a knock on the door right now, and you open the door, and there's this gray sludge monster just trying to give you a hug, what would your reaction?
Closing the door.
You close the door.
I don't know. I'm looking through the peephole and seeing what's outside. Of
the like where's he? Where's he going?
It just. I wrote down Minilla is no courage the cowardly dog.
Okay, accurate. Yes.
If for people who have not watched that show, they finally put it on. It now back to HBO Max, even though that's what I've been calling it this entire time. It is a show about a dog who is scared of everything and encounters truly terrifying things. The pilot of that
one of those ironic names
is like the shadow of an evil villain comes and tries to like kill his owners, and he has to fight the shadow. And he gets terrified, he runs away, but then you know what happens? He comes back with a flashlight. He comes back with a shovel. He comes back with a lawnmower. In Minilla, Minilla doesn't do anything really in this.
He once again learns how to blow smoke from his dad.
He's doing the smoke rings.
That's the one thing they did reshoot.
So they redid that.
They redid that. Yeah, Honda wanted to have his own take as opposed to just using the Fukuda footage from Son of Godzilla. Well, it's more aggressive on Godzilla's part. I'll put that out there, which fits for Honda.
I think, and nothing would have happened. Minilla was getting packed up by Gabara.
Yep.
And by packed up, I mean literally turned into a ball and rolled away.
Yes.
And then the only reason why Minilla even did anything really is because this little boy dropped a rock on his tail, which caused him to, shoot the fire out the way that he should.
Yeah.
And told him to jump on a log, which flipped homeboy. And that was really the only major things he did. And so that's what's annoying me about Minilla is like, I get that he's supposed to be a child. I get that he's scared of things. But at some point, you are a monster. None of the rest of these monsters have problems trying to fight. These monsters try to go up against Godzilla.
Yes.
Okay? Baby Mothra going up against Godzilla. Fighting, diving behind rocks, doing whatever they need to do to try and win this battle.
Giant Condor.
Giant Condor was trying to tear him up. Alright? I just need something.
Uh-huh.
I just need something out of this character. And I'm just not getting anything other than silliness.
Can you describe Gabora?
Oh, God. Gabora also looks like a dinosaur.
It's a Godzilla costume where the head's been tweaked, which I don't think is surprising to you.
No, yeah. He's bright green.
Yeah, he's bright green.
He has electrical powers.
Big old eyes.
Electrical powers for some reason.
He's got red hair.
He was tearing Minilla up. Ooh, that was bad.
Gabara. So I keep saying Gabora.
Gabara, yeah. The sound design of Gabara is very interesting.
Yeah.
It's very different than any creature that we've heard. In a way, it's a little more human-ish. There's like a little humanity in there.
I think because of like the face and the color, I think it's very much trying to be a monster that's designed not to scare children.
Yes. Very,
It's agreeable.
Yes.
It's not a giant tarantula or
flying
a three-headed space dragon.
Or a evil centipede.
Or Rodan, who just looks like he's trying to sell drugs at some point to children.
Pterodactyl. Or Varan, which is like a lizard but also spider monkey-esque. Yeah, it's... The design is fine. The design feels very kids' movie.
Yeah.
And that's what
wait till you get to Hedorah next week. Oh boy.
I'm intrigued. We continue to watch these, and I continue to not know what I'm in for. I'm just over Minilla, man. You got to give the audience something with this character, and there's like nothing.
So
outside of one moment from Son of Godzilla, maybe when he finally realized that he had to join the fray and help, and he sort of has this one little moment. That's it. We're 3 movies.
Yeah, I can't. I'm not a Minilla fan. I can't find like the. I know some people like Minilla. Some people enjoy what it's trying to do. I'm just not there. I can't find this like relatable elements in this thing or this like cuddly aspect or what. I just think it's this weird sludge monster that does not need to be here. I get very tied up when I try to think of which of these films I prefer, this or Son of Godzilla. And again, I'm not a big Ishirô fan, but between the Godzilla children movies, it's tough because Son of Godzilla at least is all new footage, for the most part. It's it's got the Fragmenta, it's got the Karamanga, and it has that really what I think is a really great final shot of them frozen like that together, because it's just like it's evocative. This movie, I admire like what it's trying to do as far as like this technically doesn't even happen. Like this is all in the kid's mind. Like none of this actually happens. So it's like that's interesting. There's an idea here that I think like separated from everything else could work. But yeah, the execution, especially coming from being an Ishirô Honda film no less too. Like Son of Godzilla's a Fukuda movie. This is a Ishirô Honda film, or OG. And it's like, man, without money and without, I don't know, like, I assume he had a lot of say in what he was trying. I mean, he wanted to make this movie. It's not like he was forced into it. He was like, no, I want to make a kid's movie. But, yeah, it just does not come off very well at all. So it's rough.
This was a tough one, y'all. We are in the nadir.
Sometimes I felt more positive about this one, not because there's just like a cheerful silliness to this that I kind of go along with. This time though, watching it is like, yeah, this isn't very good.
I get it, but when you start to think about, if we drop the bank robber plot altogether,
yeah,
it's like, oh, okay, now
something works better.
Now something is taking shape.
Yeah,
it's where this kid is going along Minilla, and then through Minilla and Godzilla, he gains the courage to fight his bullies.
We didn't talk about these bullies at all, by the way. What are these bullies up to? They're just like, our gang, all Japanese, and our gang being the little rascals.
Children are just brats.
But that's really all they're just kind of like, come here, kid. Give us the thing you found on the ground. Okay, now it's ours. If you want it back, scare this other guy.
Yeah.
Which he eventually does anyway.
Which was silly.
Yes.
And the guy falls off the ladder and there's paint all over him.
And then he goes home and
nothing's
really resolved. Like he's still a latchkey kid. Like I know there's other versions of the story that are like sadder because it's just like him with like his mom and she's like sad. He's like, I'm not home all the time. That's my problem.
Yeah, the gang was whatever. By the end of this, I was just like, okay, yeah.
I just feel like I wanted more like mean bullies, I guess, as opposed to kids who just like are easily avoidable. It seems. Yeah.
Or just for him to do something. But yeah, I guess he had to survive being kidnapped.
Well, he pushes one down.
Yeah, well, yeah, beat the strongest one.
Yeah.
He's the only one he really couldn't beat up.
He beats the Rufio.
Yeah. Yeah, we have hit the nadir of the early part of this franchise.
I'm gonna let you know right now. We have in fact hit the nadir, as in everything goes up from here. So you have that going for you.
I truly don't know if it can get worse.
I had to avoid telling you that, but now I can safely tell you we've hit the nadir of the franchise.
We really have.
Yes.
The last Destroy All Monsters. This made me think maybe I was a little too mean to Destroy All Monsters.
I think you were.
I gave it 2.5 stars. Maybe I need to bump that up to 3.
That deserves far more than 2.5.
Well, it's not going up too much.
That cool rocket ship alone. Like now I'm like obsessed with this thing after watching it in theaters. I'm like, I want this toy.
Oh my gosh. But maybe I was being a little too mean to that.
Yeah.
Because Abira, Son of Godzilla,
and this.
And this, oof,
yeah,
oof, oof, oof. This is in Varan territory. Because I do think this is worse than Son of Godzilla.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
Golly. Yeah, this is...
Like, I'm very curious what you're gonna... I mean, Hedorah, I have thoughts on what you're gonna think about that one, but after that we get Gigan and Megalon, which are certainly a flavor of their own, but I think they're... Compared to this, like I think you'll have things to mine from that are...
Let me rewatch.
That are more valuable.
Three-headed monster again. Yeah, man. What a rough back-to-back. What a rough 3 out of 4. You know, in Son of Godzilla, I told you that like this is part of the worry of my worry about signing up to do this series with you, because I know eventually I'm going to have to wade through some utter foolishness.
Oh, there's some. Don't worry. Things get more interesting from here.
Yeah, Destroy All Monsters was interesting, even if I didn't love it as much as you. But having now seen this, I'm like, man, I would have prayed for this to be Destroy All Monsters level. I mean, I've got a pretty solid top 5 so far of the ones that we've seen.
We'll get there eventually.
But yeah, this was rough.
Was rough,
y'all?
Here's a fun question.
What was the best scene?
Did you have any favorite moments from All Monsters Attack?
My favorite moment in this was when he finally beat up the bully.
That's fair. Mine's when he falls down the hole. Little boy, in his dream, he falls down a giant hole. It falls for a good long time. Then
long while.
Then just kind of lands on his butt and it gets up and goes, ouch.
I definitely, and I was prepared for one of those evil centipedes to pop out. But yeah,
it really set itself up for like some kind of all monsters attacking moments there, but no, instead he just kind of like gets out of the hole pretty quickly.
Also, Toho, these titles, man.
I'm sure in Japanese they work a lot better.
This can't be the translation.
Is
it?
Offhand, I'm not sure. I know that there were intentions to call this something along the lines of Minilla, Son of Godzilla, something like that, where like they wanted to call it something related to Minilla specifically. I think for the American release or whatever. Regardless, this movie was like Son of Godzilla was in theaters by the time they were like getting this thing going, so they didn't want to like title them to be too similar because they thought people would confuse the two. So eventually they changed it to like that. This is where the name Minya comes from. It's from they tried to like alter it a touch so they could like separate these two movies. That's why Minilla is like its name, but Minya is also a common name that this character gets. But then eventually they just changed it to All Monsters Attack for whatever reason. And then, Godzilla's Revenge is the other title it has, which just completely throws me off.
Crazy.
Yeah. But, yeah, that's what this is. Despite our dislike for this movie, we filled out a lot of time. So here's the thing. This is episode 13. It should be around August by the time that this episode drops.
Yes.
It's hard for us to keep track of how to do announcements on this show, given that we're recording some of these in advance. I'd like to think that Terrence and I had a great time at Comic-Con, and maybe we've met some listeners. I don't know. Who knows what happened? Like we had a great time doing all kinds of stuff that are Godzilla related, and there's possibly cool things coming up that we don't even know about yet. Hard to tell at this juncture. What I will say is we're certainly trying to keep up best we can when it comes to the reviews we're getting, any feedback that you guys have for us, and what have you. It's certainly things that we're incorporating into the show, even if it doesn't seem like it, just because we can't really address it in real time. So keep that in mind, along with any other like random bonus episodes we might do, just because things might get announced that we don't anticipate coming at the time that's happening. All of that said, if you are enjoying the show, and obviously I say this at the very end of the thing and all that, but go on to iTunes, give us a rating and review. It helps out the show, really does. Pops them up in the charts. We want to be one of the top Godzilla podcasts featuring black men out there.
Yeah. Yes, we do.
So, with all that said, You can find everything I do on my personal Substack page, thecodeofzeke.substack.com. I'm the co-host of Out Now with Aaron and Abe. I talk about the weekly movie releases with my friend Abe. And I'm also on the Summer of 2015 at 10, which is basically wrapping up now because it's at the end of the summer, with Scott Mendelson and Brandon Peters talking about the summer movies of 2015. And I'm on all the socials at Aaron's PS4.
You can find me at lenoirauteur.net and on Twitter at Terence B. Johnson.
Great. Next week we will be or 2 weeks from now we will be talking Godzilla versus Hedorah. I'm excited to do that, but that's it for now. So until then, this has been Two Black Guys Talk Godzilla. Two Black Guys Talk Godzilla is an independent podcast. This show is produced, edited, and distributed by Aaron Neuwirth and Terence Johnson. Theme music is sampled from Feral Munch. Please rate and review this show on Apple Podcasts. Feel free to email us at blackguystalkgodzilla@gmail.com and follow us on all the socials at BLK Godzilla Talk on Twitter and Blue Sky and at Two Black Guys Talk Godzilla on Facebook and Instagram. And if you haven't already subscribed, feel free to do so wherever you download your podcast so you can keep listening to Two Black Guys Talk Godzilla.